Welcome to the Recovering Perfectionist Podcast, where I empower you to develop sustainable habits, challenge society, and take messy action. I'm Christine, life balance coach and world champion ballroom dancer, and I believe that everyone has the power to create their very own life by design. The Recovering Perfectionist Podcast was created with a mission to encourage a life of abundance by finding peace and acceptance in our own imperfections and developing healthy self-love through sustainable habits and manifestation. It's time to align with the universe for the full human experience and redefine what it really means to be successful.
It's too good, the secret is out and wow.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Recovering Perfectionist Podcast 50th episode celebration. I can't even believe I'm saying that. That is beyond comprehension for me in so many things. I am so happy and honored and excited and so proud of myself for getting to this point. When I started this podcast almost 2 years ago, we're on 5 seasons now. I just really wanted this to be a kind of audio diary for me. I was doing a lot of solo episodes and, keeping track of my healing journey and sharing that with the world. And I had so many incredible people reach out to me, experts, just intelligent, talented people that wanted to be guests. And please go back and binge. There are some incredible episodes. All of them are so special to my heart, but there are just some really, really incredible episodes with some amazing, life-changing, transformative conversations. And I cannot believe we are on episode 50. So this episode, I obviously was racking my brain. What can I do for this episode? I really want this episode to be a celebration and a victory lap for everything that I've done on this podcast and just honestly where I am right now in my healing journey. So keeping that in mind, I decided to do 50 life lessons / reminders. And I want to keep it clean. I want to keep it short and sweet, but intentional, because that's my thing. All of these have to make sense. And this is just a compilation list of 50 short, sweet lessons that I have learned and that I apply and execute in my life almost daily, all of these. But it's just also good things for me to remember for myself. And I want this to be a fun episode that you can send to your friends, to your family, for yourself to bookmark and have as a reminder. And this is for me too, because honestly, it took me about 2 weeks to put all this together. And I had over 70, so I had to keep it concise to bring it down to 50. And I really wanted to, again, be intentional and keep the ones that really moved the needle, the ones that were game changers, that when people ask me, oh my gosh, how do you do what you do? I'm like, this is why. So we're just going to jump right in because let's not prolong the fun here. And we're going to go straight from 1. So here it is. I hope you enjoy and I hope you gain a lot of value from this episode. Number 1, get into the habit of asking yourself, does this support the life I'm trying to create? And I thought this was a great place to start. I was very intentional about putting this one first because everything we're going to discuss in this episode and all these little life lessons are all about creating the life that you want to live, right? Creating your life by design. So you need to always be checking in with yourself and all the things that you're doing in life. Don't just create a vision board and at the end of the year not, have anything of it come true because you're saying yes to a bunch of things that are not working towards your goals and dreams. Number 2. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. Believe them. Don't set yourself up for failure with all these expectations of people just for them to disappoint you. If they have a history of showing you all of these different things and maybe letting you down, or maybe they work a certain way and you don't, or whatever it may be, yes, you can be optimistic about change, but people cannot change unless they want to change. So just don't set yourself up for disappointment. Number 3, don't give away information that doesn't benefit you. In the age of social media, we just want to shout everything from the rooftops and tell everyone everything all the time, right? Status updates. But the idea here is kind of letting your work speak for itself, giving information away that could possibly hinder your success or say something that you shouldn't have said too early and now you have to withdraw that because maybe it didn't work out the same way, or even just telling someone that something, would be really easy or more difficult when it isn't. You just want to be more discreet. Plead the fifth more often. Number 4, the less you care about what others think of you, the happier you'll be. Honestly, though, this one is major. You need to understand that caring about what other people think about you and letting that dictate your choices is detrimental to progress. Why does it really matter what other people think about you? It's not their life, it's your life, and it's not your job to make them happy. They need to live their life. Number 5, stop accepting things you're not okay with. Teach people how you want to be treated, call them out, and create boundaries, healthy boundaries. Okay, we literally show people how we want to be treated, and what we accept from how other people treat us is how they get programmed and conditioned to treat us in the future. So the concept here is really to call people out when, in a nice way, obviously, when things are not respectfully done or people aren't treating you with the respect that you need and deserve, and setting these healthy boundaries and keeping that toxic energy on the outside. Number 6, heal generational trauma. I'm going to say this louder for people in the back. Heal generational trauma. Make it stop with you. The healing you do is not just for you. It is going to carry on through the generations to your kids and your grandkids and your great-great-grandkids. And we know that because the stuff that's happening to us that we're healing from is from our parents and our grandparents and our great-grandparents and our great-great-grandparents. And so the idea here is that be the glitch in the matrix. Have it stop with you and really know that your healing journey is not just affecting you, it's affecting the people around you, and it's affecting all the generations to come after you. Number 7, if you get tired, learn to rest, not quit. If you want to speed things up, slow down, take breaks. So there's kind of a two-parter here, but they all kind of come back to the same theme. Don't quit something because you're burnt out, because you went all in too fast and you wanted to get it done, or whatever the situation may be. Take breaks, right? I teach to my clients the Pomodoro method, where it's 90 minutes on, 20 minutes off. We don't, in our society, especially in the United States, take breaks often. We think we just need to power through things. The faster we get things done, the more that we can get done, all of those things. And the concept here is that, and we're going to talk about this a lot later as well, rest is productive. So I'm going to leave it at that, and we'll just keep going, and we'll come back to this. Number 8, don't worry about things you can't control. And if it won't matter in 5 years, don't spend 5 more minutes on it. That's a direct Gary Vee quote. If you guys know Gary Vee, he's always holding up at number 5 in his pictures. That's what he means. If it won't matter in 5 years, don't spend 5 more minutes on it. Don't worry about things you can't control. And there is so much that we can't control. We've got pandemics and disease and wars and all these things, and it is bananas to me that I'm even saying those things in today's world, but life is getting crazier and crazier, and so you just need to focus on what is in your control and do the next right thing. Number 9, lead with progress, not perfection. Give yourself grace. So this is something I preach. If you've listened to my podcast before, being a perfectionist, it's all about progress, not perfection. And we want to be able to give ourselves grace on things. I now make content and work with clients and do things a lot differently and approach things differently than I used to. And I don't come at it from a perspective of perfectionism, of everything has to be perfect before I put it out there, because then things never get out there. So the concept here is know that progress is what we're searching for and what we're striving for. My clients will also hop on and they will say things like, oh, I did all of these things and this was great and this was great and I had a really great week, but then I didn't do this. So then they consider the whole week to be kind of a mixed bag, right? When in reality, it was like 97% great, and then it was like 3% something didn't work out. And they don't look at that as they had a great week. They see that as it wasn't perfect. Perfection doesn't exist. It just doesn't. So progress is what we are working towards and what we are looking for. Number 10, work smart, play hard. Okay, this work smart concept, right? People say it all the time. It's this buzzword phrase, and no one ever talks about how to work smart. Well, I have an entire module on it in my academy, in Freedom Mindset Academy. And the concept here, because again, I'm keeping these short and sweet, is be more efficient, be more intentional with your time, who you give it to, and how you use it, and create systems. I believe that the only way that you can work smart in your life is when you create systems. Systems are, literally have a system for everything. And that is how you can work smart. And when you work smart, you have way more time to play hard. Number 11, everything you desire is on the other side of your comfort zone. And I just watched The Greatest Showman, and in that movie, Hugh Jackman says, comfort is the enemy of progress. And as we just talked about, progress is what we're striving for, not perfection. So if comfort is the enemy of progress, then the idea is to extend past our comfort zone. And it is scary, and it is full of anxiety, and it is stressful, and it is all the things because it's new territory. But that is where the beauty and the yumminess and the joy of life thrives. And that is what we should be searching for, is how can we get out of our comfort zone more? How can we talk to that person? How can we, put ourselves out there? How can we, all of the things, go for the things that you actually want. Number 12, don't be too good at a job you don't want. I literally threw this in there kind of last minute. I heard this on a podcast and I thought it was beyond brilliant, because people don't think about this, right? Especially perfectionists. We think about going into everything that we do at 150%. And I did that. I was definitely the person, which I think a lot of people can relate to this. I was the person who I would work a little retail job when I was 16, and I still gave it 150% because I wanted, to be praised for that. And I also felt like that was how I wanted to be perceived. So I'm going to put my best foot forward. But the funny part is that most of those things that we're doing, they're stepping stones, right? They're the means to the end, right? You're trying to get to the big dream, the big goal, the big thing. And I've heard people say, well, they couldn't promote me because they needed me in the job that I was in. And they can't find anyone to replace me because I'm too good at what I do. And they need me there. And it's like, wow, like what a shot to the heart, like you literally aren't getting promoted because you're too good at what you do. And that's not even the job you want to do. So I think this is just a good reflection, like figure out what it is that you want to do and be great at that. And everything else, yeah, be good at it. I'm not telling you to suck at it, but I'm also saying like, don't be so good that somebody can't move you forward into another position. Number 13. Hire a therapist or life coach. This is just like we're normalizing this, people. People have therapy. People have coaches. Ask for help. The fastest way to get somewhere, especially somewhere you want to be, is to learn from someone who is already there. They're already living the life that you want. You need to hire a coach to do that. And a coach that, whether it be a business coach, a life coach, a manifestation coach, a whatever it is, whatever you're trying to learn to be better at, hire that coach. Or again, therapy is more along the lines of healing generational trauma or working through some limiting beliefs, things like that. But like, These are things that we need to be working towards, and we need to value. This is not a extracurricular activity that we're spending money on. This is not like, hey, do I go to the movies or do I hire a therapist? It's like, no. Like, do I go to the movies or do I go out to eat? Like, those are two different things in the same category. Do I pay my bills or do I hire a therapist? Those are things in the same category. So it's not pay my bills or hire a therapist or a life coach. It's pay my bills and hire a life coach or a therapist. Number 14, be intentional with your time and energy. Protect your peace. Again, they're all going to kind of domino on each other. We talked about this. Be intentional with your time and energy. I've discovered that through a lot of my research and client work and building my academy, that time and energy is the most precious currency and resource that we have, that is somewhat non-renewable. And I say that because time is really non-renewable. It is, once it's gone, it's gone. You cannot create more time. Energy can be renewed, but so many people, because our society puts so much emphasis on money, put that as the top priority. I don't want to spend money on a coach because I don't want to lose money. You can make more money. You can always make more money. Yeah, it might not be the easiest thing, but like, figure out how to do that. That can be done. You can never make more time. I don't care who you are, how rich you are, whatever. You cannot buy more time. Time is fleeting. So who you spend your time with and how you spend your time, again, going back to that work smart, and your energy, who you let in your space, in your energy, how that, if toxic energy, if you're affected by that, if you're more empathic, that is going to dictate how you move through the world and how you progress and how fast you progress. You need to protect your peace. This is something I tell my clients all the time, is progress, not perfection, and protect your peace. Like, if you are constantly making sure that those two things are happening, like, your life is already going to be significantly better. Number 15, marry your best friend and choose that person wisely. So again, we just talked about, be aware of who you spend your time with. The person that you end up marrying is literally the most important person in your life. And I talk about this with my business coach because he just got married, and we talk about, our spouses. Those people, and yes, we both work with our spouses. So it's like, we work together, we live together, we move through life together, we travel together, like, we're doing things together. But some people don't always work with their spouse. That's fine. But that person is going to be the person that's going to support you in your dreams, that's going to be there when you fall, that's going to comfort you in all of those moments, that whole sickness and health thing, richer or poorer, all that stuff. But that person can also be the person that tears you down, that, feels like they're in competition with you. So they're trying to, make you weaker and make them stronger. Like, if you don't pick the right person, that person may end up being your Achilles heel. So be aware of that. Number 16, stop making people a priority who make you an option. And I literally just had a conversation with someone the other day about this. It was family related. Unfortunately, that is what is coming up more and more in these conversations. Is it's not even coworkers, friends, things like that. Those people are easy to say, okay, you're toxic, don't be in my life. But family members are hard because, and the closer they are to you, the harder it is, because, there's this unconditional love that we're supposed to have. And if they are not on their healing journey and they are working their shit out on you, basically, as Brene Brown says, then it's just not working. It's just not working. So you need to make sure that you, again, put up these boundaries and make some space. But when we make people like that a priority, and they're just looking at you as like, oh, you're someone, yeah, you're there in my life, that's fine, but they're making you an option. Why are we making them a priority? A part B of this is also, don't take criticism from people you wouldn't go to for advice. Like, coming back to the, caring what other people think about us. When you take criticism to heart and you let that dictate your next move, or how you perceive the work you just did or whatever it is you're putting out into the world, but you wouldn't necessarily go to them for advice. Why are you taking their criticism to heart? And also, again, as Brene Brown says, because I just watched one of her Netflix series, is that if you're not in the arena and you're not out there and you're not in the blood, sweat, and tears and making things happen, and you're sitting in the cheap seats up there, I don't want your opinion on my work. Like, I just don't. And that sounds really harsh, but it's like, that's a way to protect our peace too. So you cannot try to take, criticism from people who you wouldn't go to advice for, who are also not in the arena doing what you're doing. You're putting yourself out there, you're being vulnerable, and you're doing it. And that is progress. Number 17, when you say no to someone, you're saying yes to yourself. Again, setting boundaries, set them early, set them often. That's what I like to say. Saying no to somebody else, it's very hard to do, especially for people pleasers, perfectionists. We all kind of have fallen into this slot in some time in our life. But saying no to somebody else means you're saying yes to yourself, which means I don't have time to do that thing that you're asking me to do, or I cannot, I don't have the bandwidth, I don't have the team, I don't have whatever it is, I don't have the energy, I don't have the space. Saying no to them is a way to say yes to you. Number 18, simply invest. Invest in so many ways. Invest in yourself, invest financially. Knowledge is power. Oprah has said this so many times. However, caveat to this, knowledge is only power if you know how to use it intentionally. You can have all the knowledge in the world, and if you're not doing anything with it, then how is it helping you move forward? It's not. So by investing in yourself, and again, we talked about this, money not being, tied to the fact that like, oh, I can't afford a coach, right? That's not a priority. That's an extra. It's not. It should be, we need to start normalizing the fact that investing in yourself and in your personal growth, in your mental health, whether it be a therapist or whatever it may be, or a business coach to grow a business, whatever, that is, or even investing in the stock market. I said financially, so investing in the stock market, reinvesting in yourself will always be the right choice, and it will always pay off. I say that to my clients constantly when they join the academy. I'm like, this will be a decision that will always pay off for you. Just know that. Number 19, super simple. Read more books. Get off social media. Stop watching Netflix all the time. Read more books. Or, new modern age, listen to more podcasts, right? Audio books, whatever it may be, whatever your medium is, more information that is healthy, positive, growing. And I get it. Listen, I'm not over here preaching you should only be focusing on growth mindset, wealth mindset, podcasts, books, no social media, no fun little frivolous things. That is not what I'm saying. I definitely balance that out with sometimes I just want to watch a good funny movie. Sometimes I just want to go out and do something, random. It's totally fine. I'm just saying, like, overall, we need to be adding more of this into our life. Number 20, take messy action. I love this one. I put this in my intro in the podcast. So if you listen to the intro, this is in there. Take messy action, fail forward, and fail often. Entrepreneurs live by that motto. They fail forward and they fail often. They know that failure is a part of success. It is not the opposite of success. So taking messy action is, again, necessary for growth. It's the progress that we're talking about. People who are striving for perfection, they don't take messy action because messy action isn't perfect. It's things that need to be tweaked, and it's like, it's not perfect the first time. There's rough drafts. It's like, yeah, you need to be able to put things out into the world, get feedback from that, and then go back to the drawing board and adjust accordingly. But if you never put anything out and you feel like it's not out until it's perfect, you're never going to know. And maybe you're going to put something out there that people aren't even going to care about, versus if you put something out there that was a little bit, unfinished, you're going to see what takes and what doesn't. A good example of this is social media. So many influencers are thinking, oh my gosh, I put this out because this is what I thought everyone needed. And then everybody was so excited about this one little, dinky little thing that I did. And that blew into this giant movement, right? How many times have we heard that? Because people, you don't know sometimes what's going to resonate with people. So by taking that messy action also puts way less pressure on you to have to produce at such a high level right out the gate. Like, no one gets it right on the first try. No one hits the bullseye on the first try. And also, why are we trying to? Like, I think that's more the question. Like, are we conditioned and programmed to need to hit the bullseye on the first try? There is literally no reason for that. Number 21, super simple again. Eat healthy, prioritize your sleep, stay active, and drink more water. Had to put in there, not from plastic bottles, because we all know that ain't good for you. And the cool little phrase here to remind yourself is if you don't make time for your wellness, you'll be forced to make time for your illness. And we've all heard this, hopefully. This is just the way of the world. Like, we know more things now. And we all know, like, don't smoke cigarettes, don't drink too much alcohol. Sugar's bad for you. Like, these are all things we know. But eating healthy, prioritizing your sleep, like, sleep is the biggest thing. And so many people just say, sleep is not that important. I can get 4 or 5 hours and I can function on that. No one's asking you to function on that. Whether or not you can or you can't doesn't mean that you should. Just know that. So yeah, staying active, not sitting at the computer all day long if that's your job. Like, get out there, exercise, walk around the block, and just drink more water even when you think you haven't. You've drank enough water, drink more. Like, it's usually never enough. Number 22, be more aware of your daily habits. They make up who you are, okay? This is really important. This daily habits, I'm a habit specialist. This is what I do, habits and systems. And you are your habits. Basically, every habit that you have every single day makes up who you are. And we live about 80% of our day in habitual behavior. And the reason for that is because it's overwhelming to think every second about, like, waking up and washing your face and brushing your teeth and doing this and doing that. So most of our day is pretty habitual, like it's just a habit we do. We don't really think about it because we need to give our brain a chance to fill it with other information that's more important. But we get in these comfort spaces and we start to do things without realizing that we're doing them. And that's how we create these, what we call bad habits. So we want to build sustainable ones that are going to help us grow and help us to stay healthy, both mentally and physically. But we're also looking for these lifestyle changes, right? When you say, let's change some bad habits into some good habits, we're not looking for you to just change one little habit. We're looking for you to you want to have a lifestyle, again, going back to the very first thing that we said, does this support the life I'm trying to create? We're looking for lifestyle changes. So the example that I give here is, instead of wanting to just read a book, right? I'm going to read one more book this month. Why don't you try to become a reader? What does a reader do? What kind of habits does a reader have? They set aside time for this. Maybe they have a membership to, an audiobook app, Audible or something like that, so that they are prompted to, maybe they have notifications on their phone that says, this is your time to read, or here's a new book, or whatever. So again, same thing. You want to run a race and do a Spartan race, or do you want to become a runner? Is becoming a runner going to help your life, make you more active, keep you healthier, get you off the blood pressure medication, whatever it is that you're trying to do? Don't just look for the little habit changes. Look for the big lifestyle changes, and those little habits will then fall into place. Number 23, tell people you love them more. This is just a really good, sweet reminder all the time. How many times do people say, oh my gosh, I wish I had more time with this person, right? People are, circle of life. And we just forget to call people, oh, hey, let's go out to eat. And you never set that appointment. So this is, honestly, a small little reminder that goes into a bigger reminder. Like, tell people you love them more. Follow up with that dinner rain check. Meet up with those friends. Go on that vacation. Do the things now. Be present. Number 24, celebrate big and small wins. Literally was just talking about this with a client today, like an hour ago. This is so huge. And the big part about it is to celebrate the small part. That's the irony of it all. How many times a day do we complain about things? This didn't work. I went here. They didn't have what I was looking for. I had to do this, whatever. We don't celebrate all the small things that went right that day. Celebrate the small things. And with the big things, take time to celebrate. This big thing that just happened could have, taken you 6 months, a year, 2 years, 5 years. And we tend to celebrate for 5 minutes and then we're on to the next big goal because we're always trying to be progressing and moving forward. And that's fine. We want to be progressing and moving forward, but you need to be celebrating the hard work you put into to make this happen. So my husband and I've talked about this on another podcast as well, so I won't go too deep into it, but we do what's called life points. And no matter how big or small the achievement is, sometimes it's just like, oh, I got this podcast recorded and I've been trying to record it for 3 weeks. And when I did it the first time, it messed up the sound and I had to redo it. That could be a life point for me because this one was a task. Or it could be something as big as like I got a promotion or I booked that client or something, whatever it may be. So we do these life points. We give each other life points. Sometimes we say, hey, I think you need a life point for that. That was a big deal. Or that was something you've been striving for a while and you finally got it. And it doesn't matter if it's not that big, it's worth it. And then we give ourselves life points because I think it's important to recognize your own successes as well. And then at the end of the year on New Year's Eve, we look at all the life points. We have a sheet, it's attached to our fridge, we undo it, we go to dinner, and we look at all the life points. And there's maybe 40 to 50 life points, depending on the year. And we go through each and every one and we celebrate them all over again. This is something that is so easy to do. It does not require a lot of effort, but at the end of the year makes the biggest difference. And year after year, we keep those sheets of life points and we put them in a book or we put them in an album, and then we can look back at them year after year. This is so amazing because when you're in December and you're looking back at January and you're like, oh my God, I forgot that happened. Like how amazing. It totally changes your mindset. Number 25. This one, I can't even begin to tell you how important this one is. Meditation, mindfulness, gratitude, and presence. These are your natural medicines, right? Instead of your Advils and your ibuprofens and all that stuff, these are your natural medicines of life. And how fitting that it's number 25, halfway through the list. Like it's just kind of that balancer of life right there in the middle. Just such a beautiful space to be. A lot of people say like good food, leafy greens, sunshine, vitamin D, all that stuff. Yes, those are great things. But understanding how meditation can help you, even 5 minutes a day, mindfulness, understanding how to be present, create white space in your life and hold space for things that are, giving you trouble. Gratitude. Gratitude is what's going to help you to just, again, ground yourself in the wonderful things that are happening. Again, it's that celebrating those small wins and being present. Do things that make you feel present, we don't have a lot of things in the world that make us do that. We are constantly with social media and TV and coworkers and work and all these things numbing ourselves and just kind of throwing ourselves into other things. And it is very important to have activities in your life that help you to feel present. So just remember, these 4 things are so crucial and should be core values in your life. Number 26, become an essentialist. Again, I'm not going to go deep into this. I literally have an entire episode, which I can link below, on this book called Essentialism. It's a book by Greg McKeown. It is an amazing book. And it is, the concept of it is not focusing on getting more things done, but getting the right things done. And in doing that, you become a person that is focusing on the essential things of life and not just bombarding yourself with all these things that you think need to be done or things that you need to be. Again, I'm not going to spend too much time on this. Read the book, first of all, Essentialism, and I'll link my podcast episode that I did as a review. Once my business coach gave me this book and it changed my life. Like I was listening to it in the car on many road trips and I've listened to it over and over again. And it is something that a lot of things I was doing, but then I wasn't maybe executing it properly. And then so many things I should have been doing the whole time. It was just really a game changer. This is a move the needle kind of book, and just concept in general. Number 27, rewrite old belief systems that no longer serve you. Man, let's just let that ring for a second. Rewrite old belief systems that no longer serve you. We're seeing this happen a lot with a lot of the movements, Black Lives Matter, Me Too, women's rights, LGBTQ, all of this stuff. And people are realizing that we are moving forward and evolving in a world where we have more information. Again, knowledge is power. But if you don't use the knowledge intentionally to help you and help others around you, there's no, the knowledge is worthless. So here's a way you can use that knowledge intentionally is rewrite old belief systems. And this is so hard to do. This is so vulnerable because we think, oh my gosh, I've thought this way my whole life, or I grew up with this religion because of my parents, or I believe this because of this. And now at the age of whatever, I am starting to believe that that's not true. And I'm starting to believe the other way. For me specifically, if we want to personalize it a little bit, is my whole life I didn't want kids. I was like, I don't want kids. I saw women pregnant. Thank God that's not me. I was just a no kids person. I'm just going to live my life and I'm not going to be a parent. And then I met my husband and he really wanted kids and we had this conversation. And I had to go through this process of rewriting these belief systems of what I thought being a parent would be. And honestly, a lot of those belief systems were not serving me anymore because I was in love with this person. This person wanted to be with me, wanted to have kids with me. And I had more information now. I knew that I could build a life that I wanted, and I wasn't going to be the same kind of parent that my parents were, my grandparents or whatever. And there were a lot of fears tied to that. And I am now rewriting those belief systems. So whatever belief systems are no longer serving you, as hard as it is, and people are going to look at you sometimes and, oh, well, I thought you thought this way and that's inconsistent. And now do you stand by your word? All that stuff. Who cares? Again, going back to don't let other people's, criticism, they're not in your life. Okay. So I could go on and on this one particularly because it's so powerful, but just really reflect on what it means to rewrite some systems and also reflect on the ones that are no longer serving you that you need to shift and change. Number 28, be patient, trust yourself, and trust the process. This is hard. This one's a hard one for me, you guys. Even reading this next phrase, you are not running out of time. Everything is not an emergency. I literally feel like I wrote this one for myself. I am someone who has had a lot of time scarcity issues in my life, and it is very, very disheartening and feeling like I don't have enough time to do all the things I want to do, and I'm already in my 30s and, before babies come and all the things, and you could easily just go down a very scary rabbit hole there. So patience is very, very crucial. Also, when you're going through a growth journey, whatever that is, or rewriting old belief systems, as we just said, or building relationships, all that stuff takes time. It does not happen overnight, right? What do they say? Rome wasn't built in a day, but it was built daily. Build those habits, build those systems, create those lifestyle changes daily, and trust the process. The process is there for a reason. And if you go through the process, it will work. You have to trust that. But you also have to trust yourself because you are the person that is doing this. You are the one that's showing up for yourself every day. You're the one that's holding yourself accountable, and you need to trust yourself. So be patient, trust yourself, and trust the process. Number 29, personal transformation comes at the expense of your old self. Oh, that one hits deep, man. You need to grieve this. You need to forgive your old self for not having enough information to be at the place that you are now, and you need to move forward. But you cannot just glaze past it, push it behind you, resist it, because what you resist persists. But you need to understand that a lot of people don't want to go through personal transformation because they're afraid of losing parts of their old self. They're like, I kind of like myself. Or maybe they are going through this journey because they don't like who they are and they want to change that, but there's pieces of themselves that they still like. And those pieces are usually external pieces like friendship communities, right? Drinking buddies, people, old friends from college, or habits that they had that they were like, oh, that's so comfortable. I love that. I don't want to get rid of that. But in order for them to move forward, they have to move forward. And those things, people, experiences need to stay in the past. So just know that like when you are transforming, you are, giving up pieces of your old self, but that's okay. That's why we grow. That those old pieces of yourself are there. They're in your memories. They made you who you are. They made you stronger, but they are not going to move forward with you in the next chapter. Number 30, compliment more and complain less. Also, don't let negative thoughts or experiences control you. We've kind of touched on this in so many other ways, but first of all, compliment more. Kindness is free, guys. Like, let's just put that out there. Kindness. And complain less. Like, we just talked about that. Like, why are we constantly talking about all the things that aren't working, and we're not talking about the things that are working? So many people think that, well, good things happen to me few and far between. And if you believe that, then they are going to happen for you few and far between. But if you start to focus on even the small things that went right, like I mailed that letter today that I really needed to mail. I made that return online. I made myself a smoothie today that I don't normally make, and I feel better. Like, focus on, again, celebrating those small wins, and complaining less about the things that aren't working. The things that aren't working, like, let them be. Like, move through them. It's going to happen. It is what it is. And just expect that. But you need to be focusing on the things that are working. And don't let those negative thoughts and experiences control how you move through the day. Like, let them move through you like thoughts, and know that there's more positive things out there. Number 31, find things, activities, and people who inspire you to be creative and force you to be present. So that's why I didn't want to go too far deep into what was it, number 25 about presence, because I knew this one was coming. This is so crucial. This is how you can achieve more presence, is things, activities, people who force you to be present in the moment. So, of course, I'm going to give you an example. The example for me, which I've talked about this before, is dancing. When I am dancing, social dancing, going out to a salsa club and I'm just dancing, I literally am thinking about nothing else. I feel like I can fly. I feel like I am free. I feel weightless, limitless, fearless, all the things. And there's not a lot of things in my life that can give me that feeling. And I am so present in that moment. It's like time stands still. Recently, my husband and I have started doing a lot of electric biking. And we take our bikes everywhere we go. And, when we drive the car, we attach them to the back and we take them to all of our, fun living locations. And then we just bike around the neighborhood, or we bike around the parks. I am a very safe person and tend to not put myself in harm's way. So I am not on the phone. I'm focusing on my husband's leading the way, and I'm focusing on following him. And I want to be moving and grooving. I'm not trying to go at, 2 miles an hour. So we're riding sometimes on the side of the cars and all the things. Nothing makes me feel more present, but also with the wind through my hair, nothing makes me feel so alive. There's so many things in the world that you can find, so many people that they just make you feel good. You know what I mean? Like, gravitate towards those people. Those people are going to be your muse. They're going to be the people that are going to help you be creative, that are going to inspire you to do more. Find those people, find that tribe, and find those activities and experiences that will help you do that as well. Number 32, optimize your life for efficiency. Create systems. Again, part B or C, whichever you want to say. I'm a systems girl. Everything in my life has a system, literally. My emails, my notepads, my travel flights, my smoothies, every part of my life has a system. And it's not overkill. I feel good about it. Now, granted, there's some spontaneity and things that happen in my life. Of course, you can't you need to have that space. But if you want your life to be more efficient, you don't want to waste time, you want to work smart and play hard, systems is where it's at. Number 33, challenge society. Oh, I love this one. I also love that it's 33 because birthday episode's coming up. I'm about to be 33. This is just all so synchronistic. Synchronicity, whatever word that is. Challenge society, challenge your parents' beliefs, your grandparents' beliefs that trickle down to you. And again, we talked about rewriting belief systems that no longer serve you. We just have more information now. So exercise your right to choose and do your own research. That book, Essentialism, that I talked to you back earlier, he talks a lot about how you have the power to choose. Most people don't exercise their right to choose, and so then people choose for them, which means bosses, coworkers, friends and family, schools. People end up, if you don't exercise your right to choose, then choices will be made for you. You need to take control of your life and you need to choose, but you also need to let the universe play some part in that. But by doing your own research, you can discover so many things that society is not telling us. And I challenge society every single day. And I love the life that I live because of it, because I am doing things that most people would dream of because I do my own research and because I don't, I commit to certain things that allow me to do certain things. And there are so many, my head is flooding with, examples, but from health insurance and phone care plans to travel and flights and, how we do things, how we move around the world. I do my own research for everything, and I'm never, just taking the information from someone with it, I take it with a grain of salt, and I just always do my own research. Number 34, you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. Again, I tried to make these really fun reminders that are really kind of like quippy and fun as well. But the message here is don't be afraid to start. That's the hardest part. And I know that we are always comparing ourselves to other people. And so everyone that started that is great started somewhere that they weren't great. We all started at, day one. And so don't compare your day one to someone else's day 50. So if you want to be great, you just have to start. And that's so hard. But you are not going to be great when you start, and you have to know that. Again, perfectionism. A part B to this is you can also be a work in progress and still help people grow. That duality can and should exist. That's the reason I love coaching so much, is because I am very verbal and vocal about the fact that I'm a work in progress. That's why I have this podcast. And by being a work in progress, I am able to help people who are going through things, and I can relate to them and they can relate to me. And I don't feel so, first word that comes to mind is Beyonce. Like we see Beyonce as perfection, and I don't feel like they can't relate to me. They're like, oh my gosh, you get it. So just know that as you're a work in progress, like you can still help people grow. Number 35, if you don't like where you are, move. You are not a tree. I say this all the time. This is like my go-to. And I just think it's funny, but I also think it's very poignant. Your environment is very important to your growth and your progress and your mental health. So again, if you don't like where you are, move. You're not a tree. Number 36, redefine wealth, success, and productivity. These are three major words that in our society have gotten really skewed over the years. So I am constantly working with myself and with my clients on redefining these words, because we tend to use them interchangeably a lot, and we use them with old definitions. So the new definitions, because wealth tends to be like, money and bougie and, living that status lifestyle. Those things, again, are not going to, what do they say? Money doesn't buy happiness. Those things are not going to ultimately make you happy. If you don't have your health and you're not living in a state of joy and abundance on a regular basis, you're not wealthy as far as I'm concerned. I know tons of miserable and sick rich people. And I'm sorry, but disease doesn't discriminate. So like if you're not feeling well or you know, have issues with your body and you're in chronic pain and all that stuff, but you have tons of money, like how are you going to enjoy that money? So wealth needs to be redefined as health and joy and abundance. Success, same thing. It's kind of moving up the ladder. You're the CEO, you're succeeding at lots of things in your career and in your personal life. Maybe you're married, all that stuff. Success needs to be redefined as happiness, peace, and fulfillment. If you are the CEO of a company, but you are miserable and you're not fulfilled and you feel like it's sucking the life out of you, that's not success. Success needs to be that you are enjoying yourself, you're happy, you're at peace, you love what you're doing. And society, unfortunately, doesn't always see those things as success. Productivity, this is the big one. Productivity is going back to what we talked about, number one or number two. If you're tired, don't quit, just rest. So many of my clients say, well, my day just wasn't productive. I'm like, what do you mean by that? Well, because I didn't get this and this and this done. I'm like, well, what did you do? I went to the movies and then I, hung out with a friend but I had this stuff to do and I pushed it off and I procrastinated. I'm like, sounds like you had a great day. Sounds like it was super productive. Rest and days off and self-care days are productive. Again, you cannot burn yourself out. So productivity needs to be redefined as whatever it is you really need in that moment. And that can be rest and play. And that can also be work and, crossing things off your to-do list. Number 37, if you want a different result, do something different, right? The definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. You have two options. You can either evolve and grow, or you can repeat. And repetition is going to bring the same result. So if you want a different result, you're going to have to get out of that comfort zone, baby, and you're going to have to do something different. Number 38, feel your feels. Learn and apply with intention. Can you tell my words intention? If you numb yourself, you're never going to get to the root of the problem. So you need to hold space for the things that are bothering you, for the things that are not working in your life, for the traumas, the limiting beliefs, and you need to work through them. I talk about this with the movie Inside Out, where Joy, the character that plays Joy in her head, and the character that plays Sadness, Joy's always pushing away Sadness. She's like, I don't want you here. You're holding me back. I have to go do this on my own. I don't need you here. What you resist persists. And so as she keeps pushing Sadness away until she embraces her and says, I'm holding space for you. I'm here for you. What do you need? How can I support you? That's when the movie shifts and that's when things start to happen. So you got to feel the feels, baby. You cannot just move, past that. You have to move through it. Number 39, be bold. No fear. Those who make their dreams come true are brave enough to grab them, right? And as Brene Brown says, courage, bravery is vulnerability. So that's being bold, that's putting yourself out there, that's playing in the arena. And one of my students that I've had for over 10 years, I wrote this sticky note when we were dancing that said no fear on it because he wasn't attacking the step he was attacking it with fear. He was afraid he was going to step on my foot. So I wrote this sticky note, he put it on his mirror, and almost 11 years later now, he still has that sticky note. And it applies to so many other areas in both of our lives and everyone's life. So live with no fear as much as possible. Yes, fear is there. Yes, anxiety is there. Yes, being uncomfortable sucks sometimes, but being bold will pay off. It is the best way to live. Number 40, you can't change others. You can only change your reaction to others. I'm not going to harp on this one too much. We've kind of touched on it a little bit, but it is a fabulous reminder when you just got something going on. It's just not clicking. You're not clicking with a person or someone did something that pissed you off. You can't change them and you cannot push their growth. You cannot make them, progress faster or see your side of the story or whatever it is. You can only change how you react to them. And your reaction will dictate how that transaction essentially goes, how that experience goes. And sometimes it's just not worth the extra fight just to prove your point. Number 41, don't make yourself too accessible. Know your worth. Keep your circle small. And what I like to say is if you want to fly, you have to give up things that weigh you down, right? Birds don't fly with anchors on their feet. The more successful you get, the more personal growth you get. And again, success is happiness and fulfillment. We're not looking at like the more money you make, the more jobs you have, the bigger your business is. It's the happier you are, the more you let go of limiting beliefs, the more that you allow yourself to fly and you become weightless, the more people are going to want something from you. Honestly, I've seen it time and time again. I'm experiencing it. They're going to want something from you. They're going to want to be a part of that exciting journey that you're on, or they're going to see that things are happening and they want a piece of the pie. Well, you need to know your worth. You need to keep your circle small so that you don't, I'm all about sharing resources and everybody can be a part of our boat. But if you're going to be a part of our boat, you need to grab an oar and you need to start rowing. You cannot just come in for a free ride. So just, again, it's saying no to them and saying yes to yourself. Number 42, set intentions, not resolutions. Again, one that I'm not going to spend too much time on. I have an entire episode on this, which I will link. For those of you who know, I am completely against resolutions. It comes from a place of self-hatred, and I want to change this. I don't like what I look like. I don't like what I'm doing, whatever. Intentions, again, that's my word. So everything needs to be intentional. When you set intentions, you create a plan, you bring the right people into the mix, the coaches, the trainers that know where you want to be, that are where you want to be, so they can guide you on the path. And you set measurable goals to make that big goal happen. Resolutions are loosey-goosey. They're, trendy in January 1st. That's why people drop off from the gym February. And it gets a little empty in there because people jump into things without a plan. And they jump into things without setting goals and intentions for what they're doing. So set intentions, not resolutions. Number 43, spend money on travel and experiences, not things. Become a minimalist. Focus comes from removing things, not adding distractions. So there's this Netflix documentary called Minimalism. A lot of people have heard about it. That's a whole nother thing that you can look into. I suggest you do. Minimalism is the concept of this new generation of, things aren't making you happy. They're just weighing you down. Again, if you want to fly. And we think that by adding all of these things, like basically some people will say, oh my gosh, I need to have a better morning routine. So I'm going to add this, I'm going to add this, I'm going to add this. Sometimes it's about removing some of those things and just keeping it light. And then basically you wake up feeling less stressed. And you just have one or two things. I always tell my clients to keep a simple, clear, intentional morning routine. Don't try to add 10 things because that's overwhelming and then you can't accomplish that every day. So become a minimalist. Spending money on time and on travel and experiences, not things. That's my personal value system. I value travel and experiences and, family aspects and things like that. So you need to know what your core values are. And that's where your energy needs to go. That's where your time needs to go. That's where your money needs to go. Number 44, disconnect from technology. Don't allow yourself to be overfed and undernourished by society. I love my little quips there. We see this all the time. We are so overfed by social media, technology, other people's lives that we're following, celebrities, all these things, that we are so completely undernourished. It's like by being on technology and social media all the time, we're basically just feeding our brains with the mental equivalent to sugar and soda and, fast food and all that stuff. So just remember that you don't want to be overfed and undernourished. You want to be gaining nutritional value from the things that you're doing, and that's reading more books, listening to more podcasts, having deeper conversations with, meaningful friendships. These are the things that are going to feed your soul. Number 45, kindness and follow through are both very rare. Use them to your advantage. We talked a little bit about kindness at the top here. It is rare. It's sad. Like, it almost hurts me a little bit to say that. It's rare, and it's sad that it's rare. But people are very much stuck in their own bubbles, and I need to go first and all this stuff. But when you're living a happy life full of fulfillment and abundance and joy, and yeah, that doesn't mean that these people that are living that life are walking around every single day they're happy. No, things happen. Things happen in my life all the time. But overall, I'm a very happy, fulfilled person. And that just makes me want to be kinder to other people who I see maybe struggling. Maybe, holding a door for them makes their day. Complimenting their dress, helping them pick up something, whatever it may be. Kindness is free, and it's not hard to do. And the smallest things usually make the biggest impact. Follow through is another thing that's very rare, and that can be responding quickly to an email. It can be saying that you're going to get together with someone, and then you actually call them and say, hey, let's put it on the calendar. A lot of people don't do that. They just say, hey, yeah, let's get together. And then years later, they never do. Following up with a business opportunity, any of that kind of stuff. Like, those are the people that make it to the front of the line, because most people don't follow through. So use that to your advantage. And if it's something that you're not that great at, see how you can be better at it if that's something that you feel is going to move the needle in your life. Number 46, stop comparing yourselves to others. Again, we talked about this a little bit, but it needs to be said, people. Stop comparing yourselves to others. Own your space. Own your power. And I love this little one that I came up with here. Actually, no, I can't say that I came up with any of these. I'm pulling them from lots of different places, but this is the one that's relevant to this particular life lesson. Flowers are pretty, but so are sunsets, and they are nothing alike. Everyone's unique in their own way. And if you start comparing yourself to somebody else, and again, their chapter 20 to your chapter 1, whatever it may be, you are so completely ignoring the wonderful things that you bring into the world that person does not. You are unique. There is no one else like you, and that is your superpower. And as cliche as that sounds, like, you need to own that. And by owning your space and not always saying, well, I'm not like that person or whatever, you are going to move so much faster by just focusing on your journey, watering your grass, and knowing that everyone's different, and that's what makes life so beautiful. Number 47, make peace with your past so it doesn't disturb your present. And a part B is sometimes you need to let go of something or someone that you think is perfect for you in order to make room for what truly is. I'm literally immediately drawn back to my teenage years, thinking about, oh my gosh, I'm going to marry this person. This guy is so amazing. And he's so perfect for me. Or this college program is so perfect for me, and I want this job, and and there's nothing else that would make me happier. And in that moment, that might be right, and that may have solved all my problems. But the universe sees further than you do. You see in the moment, the universe sees way further. And there was someone else amazing waiting for me that I didn't know even existed. And if I would have gotten my, dream realized, thinking I wanted to be with that person or wanted that job, I would never be where I am right now. So make peace with your past so it doesn't disturb your present, right? Don't let things in the past that are no longer serving you affect how you are moving forward and growing right now. And be okay letting go of some of those things that are not, that you thought might have been perfect. But if, what do they say? If one door closes, another opens. When those, it's always for better. There's always something. If you didn't get that job, it's because there's a better job waiting for you. Number 48. So before we said, say that you love other people more. And now number 48 is love yourself, right? We're getting near the end here. We got 2 more. Love yourself. No one can make you happy unless you're happy with yourself first. And you will never be able to create sustainable change in your life from a place of self-hatred. My business partner, Maggie, in Freedom Mindset Academy works on this so much. She has the 6 pillars of self-love, which I can also link is amazing. She is always talking about how when people want to create real change in their life, how she forces them to write letters of love to themselves, um, basically like a self-love love letter. And you cannot start creating change from a place of, I hate myself, I don't like this, I want to change this, because you have to address the fact that this has gotten you, your body, your mind, everything, your ideals, your belief systems have gotten you this far. And yes, if you realize that where you are right now is not where you want to be, that's fine. But you cannot come at it from a place of hate. You have to come at it from a place of love. Again, it's joy hugging sadness in the movie Inside Out. And you have to hug yourself and love yourself. And then just in general, just healthy self-love, self-care, all the things. Like you are the one that you're going to spend the rest of your life with. You know, as we said, it's important to find that perfect person. Sorry, let me rephrase that. We're not using the word perfect. It's important to find that compatible person to marry in your life, but you're the person that you're going to spend the rest of your life with. You're the one that's there for you. So you need to be loving yourself first, and that compatible person in your life is going to complement that. And in keeping that in mind, also we need to stop normalizing the phrase, oh, here's my better half, because I'm a whole person, my husband's a whole person, and together we complement each other, but we are not half people and now have been completed with each other. That is just something that I think needs to definitely be taken out of our vocabulary. Number 49, 2 more. Normalize mental health days. So we're loving ourselves, we're doing the self-care. You need to do weekly check-ins with yourself, like mental health days, hiring a therapist, all of these things. Like there's a reason that all of these are separated, because they are different ways to make that happen, to be intentional about your mental health and about taking control of that. And last but not least, number 50, enjoy your life, laugh at least once every day, and know that the universe has your back. Oh my goodness. What a great way to start. Let's not forget, we started with get into the habit of asking yourself, does this support the life I'm trying to create? And don't forget that the life you're trying to create is a life that you enjoy, that you feel fulfilled, that you're laughing a lot, because laughter, nothing brings you more in the present moment than when you're laughing. And just knowing and trusting the process that the universe has your back, that you have all the possibility to create this beautiful, abundant, fulfilling, joyous life that you want. And whatever it is that you want is yours. It's already yours. The timeline is there. You just need to be bold and vulnerable and go out there and put yourself out there and get out of your comfort zone and grab it. And you need to not let other people get in your space and get in your head and block you from that just because they've had their own traumas and their own limiting beliefs and they're projecting that onto you. You need to push that out, and you need to focus on life is available to you. And all you need to do is grab it. Do your own research and grab it, baby. So I hope that this last hour of reminders and celebration, because I'm over here celebrating a big win, 50 episodes of the Recovering Perfectionist Podcast. I am so excited. Thank you to my OGs, the real homies that have been here since day one, since episode 1. And thank you to all of you, to just everyone who's listening. Thank you to all my guests who have been on this podcast that have nourished my soul and that have taught us so much about so many different things and have created these beautiful, wonderful, soul-connecting conversations. And this is just the beginning, baby. This is not the end. We have so much still to do. Season 5 is just grazing the surface. I have so many incredible episodes still coming for you. My birthday episode is coming up, and I just want to tell you all that I love you. I love you so much, and thank you so much for being on this journey with me. Thank you so much for listening to the Recovering Perfectionist Podcast. I'm Christine, and if this episode resonated with you or spoke to you in any way, please feel free to share. I absolutely love hearing from you guys and your thoughts about the topics based on your experiences. And also, if there's anything you want me to talk about, just screenshot this episode and share it on social media with your comments. Your feedback really helps me to curate episodes that best serve you. If you have time, I would greatly appreciate if you could leave a review wherever you're listening to this episode, whether on Apple or Spotify or any other platform. I'm wishing you a blessed week ahead, and remember, perfection doesn't exist. Take messy action. Healthy habits keep us balanced, and you are enough.